Here are 10 reasons not to retire in the Philippines. Number 1, healthcare quality. Urban versus rural disparities. While cities like Manila, Cebu, and Davao have hospitals that meet international standards, rural areas often lack advanced medical facilities. Specialized care may be required travel to a major city, and access to medication also is not very widely available. Availability of certain medications can be inconsistent, and retirees might need to import specific drugs, which can be costly and time consuming. Some people may say, well, Filipino doctors and nurses are some of the best in the world. Where and how? Why do you think that? Is it because they travel internationally? There are several reasons for that. Number 1, cheap labor. Pinoys will do anything for money, therefore they travel abroad to make money and live in those countries. It's called brain migration. All the best of the best leave the Philippines. I'm not talking about doctors or nurses in your home country. I'm talking about in the Philippines. Medical care, it's still decades behind first world countries. Do not let these other expat YouTube vloggers fool you and mislead you. Number 2 is natural disasters. Frequent and severity of natural disasters is a serious concern if you want to live in the Philippines. The Philippines is hit by an average of 20 typhoons annually, with around 5 being destructive. Earthquakes and volcanic activity are also common due to its location on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Preparedness and recovery also is a problem. While there are systems in place for disaster preparedness, recovery efforts can be slow, especially in remote areas, potentially leading to long-term disruptions. Not to mention the amount of electricity that will go out, not having clean water, and all the trash and pollution that comes with these typhoons. It's a severe problem in the Pinoy land, something that the government, I believe, is trying to correct, but they are so slow, so corrupt, none of the money actually goes to these causes. The natural disasters should be on your top concerns in the Pinoy land. It is a serious, serious issue. Number 3, why you should not retire in the Philippines. Infrastructure issues. Road quality. Many areas suffer from poorly maintained roads, leading to challenging travel conditions. Traffic congestion is also a major problem in urban areas. Manila constantly ranks as one of the worst cities in the world for traffic, even worse than parts of India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or even China with its high population. Utilities and service is also a problem. Power outages and water supply interruptions, as I just mentioned, are not uncommon, particularly outside major cities. Internet and telecommunication services can be inconsistent. You will be out of electricity quite often if you don't live in major cities. They call them brownouts, but you and I know them as blackouts. Problems with utilities is a major concern also. Many people try to install their own solar power, have Starlink for internet, or have their own water systems installed, but those people are the ones that commit fully to living in the Pinoy land, because you have to remember these things take a lot of time, a lot of money and resources, and a lot of effort, and most of the time your partner is long gone with your money before that even happens. But let's stay on track about top 10 reasons why you should not retire in the Philippines. Number 4 is cost of imported goods. Higher prices, of course. Goods imported from abroad, including certain foods, electronics, and other consumer items, can be significantly more expensive due to import taxes and limited availability, not to mention everybody trying to scrape some money off the top, starting with importing agents, customs. Anyone that has a hand in bringing the goods to you will try to take some money off the top, obviously leading to much higher prices once the goods actually get to you. Availability also. Some products are familiar to Western retirees might not be available at all. It requires adjustment in lifestyle and preferences. So when you want to retire in a country abroad, away from your home country, you would want to be comfortable, obviously. Why spend your golden years stressed? You spent all your life being stressed and working hard to come to this country and be stress-free, not the other way around. So these are some of the things you always have to consider before you try to move and retire here. Number 5, bureaucratic challenges, administrative delays. Processes such as obtaining visas, setting up utilities, or dealing with property transactions can be slow and require persistent follow-up. Pinoys can be lazy. Most of them are island time mindset still. They do not do things in time. They do not care about how many years you have left or whether you're a foreigner. Everything costs money and is always delayed. Not to mention corruption. While improving corruption can still be an issue, potentially complicating dealing with government offices and other institutions. I've had several different people try to take money from me, even though they work at airports, immigration offices, police officers. These are not uncommon in the Pinoy land. Oftentimes, it will be more than just money. It might be your life. They threaten you and follow up on those threats if you try to stand up for yourself, especially as a foreigner. They do not see you as important. They just see you as a walking ATM. Number 7, cultural adjustment, language barriers. The Philippines is a large country with many different dialects. While English is widely spoken, particularly in urban areas, learning some Tagalog or local dialect can be essential for better integration. Social norms also as issues. Understanding and adapting to local customs, traditions, and etiquette can take time and patience, and we all know if you ever travel to the Pinoy land, patience is one of those things that you must have, or you'll simply have a horrible time. Many things do not make sense, as I've discussed on this channel. Everything seems to be backward, multiple steps just to do one thing. Nothing makes sense. I'm all about following rules, but when the rules don't make any sense at all, it is very difficult to accept because you are an adult. You have a brain, you have adapted and evolved to be actually productive, so why follow something that doesn't make sense? I know many of you would just say, go back to your home country, or why retire here, but that's the whole point of this channel, to show you the other side of it, not just the heaven and the paradise that many people tell you. So keep that in mind. Number 8 is pollution and environment issues. Air quality. Cities like Manila suffer from high levels of air pollution due to traffic, industrial activities, and burning of waste. The Philippines still burns their trash. Can you imagine that? 2024, and people are still throwing garbage into the rivers, into the oceans, burning trash right in front of the yard, in the backyard, in front of everyone. It does not make sense, but that is how they do it. And also the water quality. In many areas, tap water is not safe to drink, necessitating the purchase of bottled water or installation of filtration systems. Keep that in mind because it's not just drinking water. Water, when you go to have a salad in a restaurant, what do they wash those vegetables with? When you buy anything like a coffee, a drink, a lemonade, anything at all, you sometimes do not think of what's in that. What do they wash it with? Not to mention the ice quality itself. Finding ice is also difficult in the Philippines for some reason. I believe it's because ice is not a priority for many people and they consider it a luxury, especially when it's hot. Nothing is ever cold enough, and when you want to eat, nothing is ever hot enough, but that could be another topic for another day. Number 9, political instability. Governance. The political landscape can be unpredictable, with issues such as corruption and changing policies affecting stability. Think of it this way, even right now, what's going on with the Philippines and China and military bases and the US, there are certain uncertainties in this country, and if you want to retire here, you have to accept that at any point things can escalate in the South China Sea. You never know what can happen with the Filipino government and the next administration as well. And this also impacts services. Political instability can impact public services, law enforcement, and economic conditions, potentially affecting daily life and business operations. Don't even get me started on a business in the Pinoy land. Never ever start a business here. You will 100% of the time lose money and never see any return on investment. Number 10, access to quality education. Limited options outside major cities. There are fewer options for high-quality international schools, which might be a concern for retirees with school-age dependents, especially if you want to have a child with a Filipino woman. Education can be very costly and not very easily accessible, and the cost of private and international schools can be expensive, and the quality can be very, very widely different from one another, requiring careful research and planning. Those are 10 reasons, just 10, but there are hundreds, I promise you. Leave your opinions. What are some reasons why you should never retire in the Philippines? Write them below. I want to hear from you. There are so many more. Number 11 can be food. Imagine trying to have healthy food in the Philippines. I do not understand why their fruits and vegetables are so pricey. Why a tropical country would rather sell things at an expensive price and waste it instead of selling it lower but selling more. Some of the business practices here does not make sense. They even hoard things like onions or sugar just to raise the prices. I don't know how this happens in this country when there's so much poverty. People are greedy and corrupt. And let's not get into scamming women and everything else. This is simply about retirement. There are so many more reasons why one should never retire in the Philippines. One other important thing is the road conditions. Some people live in rural areas and easily have serious problems with medication and health because they cannot access hospitals fast enough. Keep those things in mind before you decide to retire here. Now it is time to take a look at yesterday's best and worst comments about my Filipina can't manage money. Regarding Filipinos always being poor and not being able to do anything for the future, to plan better, or to do anything about their finances. Let's take a look. Yesterday's best comment is from Clyde Smith, who says, yes, those smiles have a bad agenda behind them. This is about the myth that all Filipinos are friendly, how they're always friendly to foreigners, and they say hi, and they smile, and they're the best people in the world. Well, there's a reason for that. They want your money. They want something from you. Keep that in mind the next time you take a trip to this country and see the truth in this place for what it is, not just the rainbows and butterflies. There's a whole lot more to this place than what they tell you on other expat, vlogger, YouTube channels. Lastly, Clyde also says, it's true, they find any and every way to spend your funds. That is why most of them are so broke, and that is why many men go broke in the Philippines, because they do not know how to manage their girlfriend, and the girlfriends don't know how to manage the money. I also want to read another comment by Slydob2007 who says, if you are reading this, consider using the donate button. This channel is the only one to tell the truth, and the monetization is stacked against him. They don't give ad revenue for being honest. They give it to vloggers who only say nice things. Just my observation, and videos are a lot of work. They are. Thank you, Slydog. If you want to support this channel, you can use the super thanks button at the bottom and donate to the channel. There does not seem to be any obviously bad comments about yesterday. Seems that most of us agree that the Pinoys do not know how to manage money properly. Thanks for watching. God bless.